is Umar Mustapha Madawaki. Otumba is a title conferred on me by the people of Iropora Ekiti, the Ekiti state, and I'm from Adamawa state, born and brought up here. I attended my primary school in Jamaica, secondary school also in Jamaica, and then I proceeded to University of Maiduguri for my first and second degree before I joined the public service as a classroom lecturer with the Federal College of Education, Yola. I taught for some time and then I resigned and went into my private life. Well, the idea of politicking came in sometimes in 2017. People came to me from all nooks and corners of the state, friends, well-wishers, families, encouraging me to join politics. I resisted that heavily, but the same group of people were able to subdue me and got me into politics. And I joined the APC, and we were heavily campaigning because I wanted to vie at that time for the office of the Senate, for the Central Senatorial Zone. After a while, I realized that the party was not forthcoming in terms of being prudent and straight with contestants. A lot of unhealthy games were being played, so I pulled out and left. For 4 months I was away from the state and from limelight, such that other people who felt aggrieved as well, decided to form a political party called ADC. At the end of the day, they looked for me and asked me to come and join them so that we could fight some of the negative ills prevalent then in APC. And after consultations, I did accept and I did join. And we fought. We had two objectives. If we could, we would have taken the government house. If we can't, at least let us stop APC, because we wouldn't want to contend with the kind of leadership APC had at that time. Well, we couldn't form government, but at least we succeeded in destroying APC. Immediately that happened, APC itself realized that yes, we fought against our own party. Instead of punishing us, they realized that there are so many misgivings, so many mistakes made, and so they decided to reconcile. In the course of the reconciliation, we were able to come together, again as one political entity. And we believe by now that the level of reconciliation has grown so much so that we see ourselves as brothers, as friends, as party members. We definitely have the conviction that we will take over the government house. When I joined in 2018, I did run around along with my gubernatorial candidate then, who was Senator Abdulaziz Nyako, and in the course of the so-called running around, I saw things I never thought existed. I heard things I never thought people could say or do. So with that at the back of our mind, and I also saw the level of abject poverty prevalent, in our respective communities, so I felt there was need for us to, come together and see what we can do as human beings, as party members, as friends and well-wishers, to ameliorate these problems. So, as an individual, by March this year, I will be 60. I have gone through the 4 walls of the university, both at first and second degree. I have had my experiences. Now, with that at the back of my mind, I was convinced that I could be a material. So, and by right, constitutionally, I can vie for any political office. And so, it's cumulative thing. One, I was born and brought up here. I know what is prevalent in our society, the level of poverty, the level of ignorance. I am also conscious of the fact that we are sitting on gold. because Adamawa State is blessed with a lot of natural and human resources. Most of it, a greater percentage of it, let me put it this way, are untapped. With my level of education, with my exposure, I think I have seen the world, and the world has taught me that it is ideas that make things happen, not necessarily finance. The cases of Dubai and Singapore has rather strengthened me to believe that once you have good ideas and you have good leaders who are committed and who want to see practical and pragmatic changes in society, then money will come out of it. And you need money to implement socio-economic and political agendas. So with that at the back of my mind, I believe Adamawa shouldn't be poor. Adamawa in fact has no reason being poor. So along with some few lieutenants that I've already identified, I think I will make a difference. I will be able to do things that others couldn't, not because I am better than them in any ramifications of life, but because I believe I have the requisite relationship with people outside that can give me a helping hand in that direction. I will totally disagree with you on that. The present government isn't doing anything. This is a government that came realizing that Adamawa State is an agrarian state. It's a state that has practically nothing. Our educational system has collapsed. The health system has collapsed. There is total, absence of infrastructure, and no human capital development. With that at the back of your mind, I think a serious governor would want to find out what is it that you have internally that you can fall back on in terms of IGR. But he decided to go the cheapest way, that is borrowing. Now when you borrow, you are putting burden on people. I'm not saying borrowing is bad. People borrow. The United States is the richest economy in the world, the biggest economy in the world. They are also the biggest debtors in the world. So you borrow, but in order to fund infrastructure, you borrow in order to fund projects that can yield more money so that you can be able to pay those debts. But you do not borrow money for services. That's totally out of the question, especially in today's world. So here is a governor who has nothing, running a state that has practically nothing, and then he goes about borrowing money at high interest rates and building useless projects. Useless in the sense that, I'll give you a simple example. The bridges he built, the one close to the market, yes, you build overhead bridges in order to ease traffic. There is hardly any serious traffic in Adamawa State. Yes, I can also accept that there were areas that you could stay for 5-10 minutes, and they are volatile areas, junctions and so on and so forth. Precisely the market gate 3 and the investment house junction. These are the two most notorious areas where you could be staying for 5-10 minutes, and you call that maybe traffic jam. You could stay in traffic jams for hours in other cities. Now, if you think that is an impediment for people, and therefore you want to remove that by building overhead bridges, fine. Pick the bridge from where he picked it, fly it over the market gate, fly it over the investment house junction, and drop it somewhere along Bank Road. Now, by doing that, you have solved that problem. Any right-thinking individual knows you have done that. Now, that would have at least solved that problem we are talking about. He borrowed money, built the bridge halfway because he dropped it in front of the market gate 3. The problem at the investment house is still persistent, it's still there. And he had to close that market gate Closing that market gate means closing another source of revenue, because government makes money out of that gate. So how do you close a revenue earning instrument just because you built a bridge that is worthless? If you come from Numan Road and you want to join the road to get to, if it is a trailer, I have experience in talking out of sentiments, you will create more traffic than the one that existed before the bridges. And it is so difficult for the trailers to turn around, and proceed. You know how that place was. So he rather created problems instead of solving problems with a bridge that is worthless. And don't forget, he borrowed money to build that bridge. So he has piled debts on Adamawa, increased the number of problems that were existing, or compounded the problem that was hitherto existing, and ended up doing nothing. No sensible leader will do this. My analogy is this: it is either he lacks advisors, or he is more like a tyrant who simply says things and sticks by them whether they are good or not. I have seen such examples even in the educational system. He deboarded the junior secondary schools on the pretext that there is insecurity. Kidnappers or Boko Haram, whatever it is, can come and pack these kids. Now, but he left the senior secondary school kids there. They share the same school, the same compound, the same classroom, the same everything. If the junior secondary schools are highly susceptible to kidnapping, what happens to the senior secondary schools? So it doesn't really make any sense. I mean, it is not even convincing to the logical mind. So my analogy here again is that even before the analogy, there were protests by school administrators, by parents, by stakeholders. Even the students complained. Yet it didn't move him one bit. He went ahead to implement that.